One person controls more jobs in Michigan than the next 9 billionaires combined. This individual's decisions affect whether your neighbor gets hired, whether your local mall stays open, and whether entire Michigan towns survive or disappear. But the truth behind this will shock you. We're not talking about some tech genius or inherited oil money. This billionaire's empire touches your life every single day. Yet most people have no idea who they are. In the next few minutes, you'll discover how this person became Michigan's economic kingmaker, why their power is growing stronger every year, and the shocking reason they're more powerful than the governor himself. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Michigan's economy runs on more than just cars anymore. While everyone thinks Detroit's big three control the state, the real power has shifted. Over the past 20 years, 10 billionaires have quietly built empires that employ hundreds of thousands of Michiganders. These aren't celebrity billionaires you see on TV. They're secretive business owners who control everything from your grocery stores to your healthcare. Their combined wealth equals over $50 billion. That's more than the entire state budget. They decide which cities get new jobs and which ones slowly die. Some inherited their fortunes from their grandparents. Others built companies from nothing in their garages. But one billionaire stands above them all. This person's business empire generates more economic activity than Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis combined in Michigan. And they did it without manufacturing a single car. Now here's where things get really interesting. The number one billionaire controlling Michigan's economy is Dan Gilbert, and his empire is worth over $20 billion. But here's what nobody tells you. Gilbert doesn't just own the Cavaliers or Quicken Loans. He owns over 100 buildings in downtown Detroit. That's not an exaggeration. One person literally owns most of Detroit's central business district. When you walk through downtown, you're walking through his private kingdom. He employs over 30,000 people in Michigan alone. That's more than the populations of entire Michigan cities like Sault Ste. Marie or Petoskey. His company, Rocket Mortgage, processes over $90 billion in loans every year. Think about that. He controls who gets to buy homes across America from his Detroit headquarters. But here's the really crazy part. Gilbert made most of his billions by figuring out how to sell mortgages online before anyone else thought it was possible. He saw the internet coming in the 1990s and bet everything on it. People called him insane. Now those same people work for him. His downtown Detroit real estate alone is worth over $5 billion. He bought most of it when Detroit was bankrupt and everyone was running away. Now he's forcing the entire city to rebuild around his vision. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. The shocking reality is that Gilbert's power goes way beyond just money and buildings. He literally redesigned Detroit's economy from scratch. After the 2008 financial crisis destroyed the city, Gilbert moved his entire company headquarters from the suburbs to downtown Detroit in 2010. Nobody understood why. Downtown was a ghost town. Buildings were abandoned. Crime was everywhere. But Gilbert saw something nobody else did. He realized he could buy an entire city for pennies on the dollar. He started hiring thousands of young workers and required them to live downtown. Suddenly, downtown needed restaurants, shops, and apartments. Gilbert bought those too. Then he bought the parking lots. Then the office buildings around his office buildings. He created a closed economic loop where his employees worked in his buildings, lived in his apartments, ate at his restaurants, and parked in his garages. Their paychecks came from him and their rent went back to him. It's the closest thing to a company town America has seen in 100 years. Other billionaires watched and copied his playbook. The Ilitch family, worth over $6 billion and ranked number 2, built Little Caesars Arena using the same strategy. They're buying up the Cass corridor piece by piece. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. Gilbert doesn't just control Michigan's economy through business. He controls it through politics, and he does it in a way that's completely legal but absolutely terrifying. His companies are the largest political donors in Michigan history. Every governor, every mayor, every state representative needs his approval to win. Not officially, of course. But when one person employs 30,000 voters and controls billions in development money, politicians listen. He's blocked projects he didn't like and fast-tracked projects he supported. When Detroit needed to be bailed out, Gilbert was in the room making decisions alongside elected officials. He's not elected. He doesn't answer to voters. But he has more practical power than anyone on a ballot. The Michigan Strategic Fund has given his companies over $300 million in tax breaks and incentives. That's your money going directly into his pocket. When local communities try to negotiate for better deals, Gilbert's team simply threatens to build somewhere else. And it works every single time because mayors know Gilbert creates jobs that keep them elected. He's built a system where the government pays him to make himself richer while everyone calls him a hero for saving Detroit. The other billionaires on Michigan's top 10 list are doing the exact same thing on smaller scales. So what does all this mean for us today? This concentration of economic power in so few hands creates a dangerous situation for everyday Michiganders. When one person controls whether your city thrives or dies, democracy becomes theater. Your vote matters less than one billionaire's business plan. This isn't conspiracy theory. The simple math. Gilbert's 30,000 employees plus their families equal over 100,000 voters who depend on his decisions. Those people vote based on their economic survival. Politicians know this, so they give Gilbert whatever he wants. The implications go deeper than politics. Michigan's economy is now dependent on the health of these 10 billionaires' companies. If Gilbert's mortgage business crashes like it almost did in 2008, Michigan crashes with it. We've replaced the Big Three's economic dominance with something even more concentrated and fragile. The other 9 billionaires on the list, including the Ilitch family, the Meyer family worth $8 billion, and the DeVos family worth $5 billion, create the same dependencies in their industries. Your job security isn't based on your skills anymore. It's based on whether a billionaire's quarterly earnings meet Wall Street's expectations. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. Here's the twist nobody sees coming. Gilbert and Michigan's other billionaires aren't actually the final bosses of Michigan's economy. They answer to Wall Street investors and international banks who can destroy them overnight by cutting off credit. Gilbert's empire runs on borrowed money. Over $50 billion in mortgage debt backed by financial institutions in New York, London, and Tokyo. If those banks decide Michigan is too risky, they pull the plug, and the entire house of cards collapses. So Michigan's economy isn't really controlled by 10 billionaires. It's controlled by faceless investment funds who've never even visited Detroit. The billionaires are just the local managers. This is the reality of modern American economics. A few people concentrate enormous power, but even they're trapped in a global system they can't control. Michigan went from being run by the Big Three automakers to being run by 10 billionaires to actually being run by international finance. And nobody voted for any of it.